order to cope with any adverse environmental effect.
Yeah, in relation to what the moderator has said, I also learned that when coordinating the mitigation and the adaptation, they are different, and we should be conscious when we want to put one under mitigation on all adaptation. For example, the 00089 has for mitigation and 00090. So those were very important when we are doing our planning. And when those that cut across, we have to skip where it lies best.
Yeah, I had that's the experience. But how complicated my life. When she really understand for the first time that we as a government we would be tackling the problem from the wrong side. She asked the ordinary person, whatever that firewood, wood, etc. All those processes are causing or are facilitating climate change. You remove wood or forests or bushes, you are facilitating climate change. Population is increase, we need more food, and we expand agricultural production, we affect or we facilitate climate change. All those processes are not being checked. We are here, we are talking about constructing a health center and then an EIA. Where is the EIA for food production in the community? Where is the EIA for firewood, biomass, and all those? So I got seriously the nature. I was like, well, how do we? It appears we need to start all over again, because in the civil service we are here looking at one direction of the causes, but there is that cause which we are not looking at. The operations of the communities, the operations of the public. That thing up to now, I don't know.
Thank you very much. Given the fact that you also reports that 90% of the households in Uganda still use biomass energy, which emits greenhouse gases. So that means increase in population, increase in the use consumption of biomass, and therefore that leads to increase in emission of greenhouse gases. So we are actually tackling the situation at the end stage of tackling it at the grassroots level. Any other? So if there are no more reviews, yes.
Thank you, our this morning moderator. Yesterday, maybe what I was category is about to. I knew about a new approach to solving issues with climate. It is about nature-based solution. I didn't know about it. So I learned that clearly this is a new approach we can adopt and clearly can work out in our area 50 related climate. And two, I learned about the steps calculation of climate change in our program and first, what is the issue? What is being done currently at intercom? So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's say that we use measure to tackle a societal problem while enhancing the human benefits and also environmental benefits, and that is all about nature-based solution. So if there are no one, well, we are going to now to, I think organizers, you can see that this was a very attentive class, and I think we need a round of applause for our students. Being attentive yesterday, but we urge you to do the same for today. So now we are going to have a presentation on climate change budget targeting for local government. Actually, it is a continuation of yesterday's presentation by Dr. Israel. So may I at this juncture invite Israel to continue with the presentation on budget targeting for our local government.
This one has a better. Wi-Fi is the tool, must be more. And assisting Wi-Fi is the assisting. Whenever I say that, we are really looking at this already. And you can see we are still being challenged by technology. So we can have tears, they sort of listen, challenge out, and then by the time we come, then we have started in themselves. So we first start for the first session, or we go for democracy. GT, responsible for the agenda. We come back there. So, and that's the thing, but see,
You know what's the other thing? You and me. Come on, tell you.
Yeah, I think that. Train every out. I want to be on sugar. Look together.
And. Cause I'm not.
Never pay for Wi-Fi again.
No, yeah, text us, it's okay. Let's not go with it. Yeah, police. Maintenance and reading, so. And the report will be very important.
As it is to resume. So that's the agenda. You can start.
Good morning once again. This is the interface of climate. Okay. So this is the interface of the tag group. This process is being finalized. For starters, this is just about the tool. If anybody wants to know about the tool, this is the starting point. Then we shall go to the tool itself from there. But it has a number of resources that you can get. For example, remember, step number 2 was on documentation. What documents you have in place to support you do this. So you can see we have the Uganda's National Family Contribution is there. Download to come. You have a report on demonstration of project tagging. This is the report that was done sometime back when we were paying us. But then you also have the National Climate Change Policy. We say we have to do a combat that with this document. And then we have the NDC outlook. So the NDC outlook is showing you our progress towards achieving the national climate contributions. So that is that side. Our interest is going to be here on the tool, where I'll click and open. So, as you can see, when I'm teaching my children computer, I always tell them learn how to read, because these computers are made that they guide us. Whether using Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, or what, the breakdowns have some words that guide you. Sometimes you don't read those words and just rush it through, and we end up learning properly. So we shall read. They are telling you the CCB tool is a 5-step tool. So by doing this, means this is step 1. You shall not finish until you've seen step what? 5. Okay. Designed for economic planners in the sectors, ministries, agencies, and local governments. It will take approximately 30 minutes to complete. In order to use the tool, you need to have the sector program budget document for the selected fiscal year. If budget appropriation is unavailable, you may use the provided budget data downloadable in step 4. So we've seen you are not just going to come here blindly. You have to come when you know what you need to do. So we go to step 1. Step 1 is the program information. And here in this step, you provide you will, meaning you the person who is tagging, not this tool itself. You in this step you provide basic information about the fault. So we go. So we are in. So step 1, we are going to go to step 1 and select the fiscal year for which you are performing the climate change tagging So in this regard, I'm going to click and select which year do you want?
That's good.
Pardon? Number 26. Okay, so I have selected number 26. Then step to here, I still in this step 1, select the vote appropriate. The votes represent the key subdivisions of the national budget vote. Now, here we are supposed to have now the various local governments which are not yet entered. So it is hard for us to have that level because it's supposed to be instead of ministry, it's supposed to be local governments. Your votes are that has not yet been entered. It requires some other program which is being done. So select the anyone you feel we should pick from this. Any of your choice. Nice. Consensus. We go for. Nice. Now I'm conflicted.
Random.
Randomly.
Which is
Yeah, it is. So go to
yes.
go to. Yeah?
When the one cannot open that,
What is?
he cannot open that.
For example, not defined.
Select for us random email. Yeah. Just share it.
Pardon?
Yes.
I want us to have a random process. Random. So which one now?
Which one?
Kampala capital city of which one?
Yes.
So fast.
Yes, Kampala just set authority.
Yes, Kampala.
Yes.
That means that is there. Okay, so now we've selected Kampala capital city authority. Now, as you change most of these, as select here, a lot of things are going to change. There. So now you come and you select the NDP. Now this is still NDP 3. This is going to change for NDP 4. Okay. So select the NDP program that you're contributing to. So now that you have selected the KCCA, KCCA is actually a local what? Government. Because it can contribute to several what? Several programs. Eh? So you choose which program from these that you want to take. Choose, select randomly.
Integrated transport.
General transport, eh? General transport is selected. So we proceed. After this, then they are telling you, select the appropriate sub-program under the program. Now that means here, choose what is choose an option. Let me see. Was this configured? Let me choose let's what happens. So now the one we chose was that is not, let me choose natural resource and see. That's okay. So it's what is happening. The one you selected, you are picked what? Transport, yes. It's not configured. Its programs are not entered. But that does not mean that you don't. Some programs you never had sub-programs. Eh? But let's first take it and see. Where we find a problem, we shall come back. So I haven't seen the next sub-program. Because here, let me say other text sub-program. Right? Everybody with the sub-programs are this way. Let me first see how so These are a couple. Okay, they absorb. They absorb. Okay, so those are the three things we covered. Then we come to adaptation, project that supports actions to counter all adverse climate risks. Okay, so then we are now going to select. They have told you here, if you do not have sufficient information, please select not sure. Now, proceed. So, there is only one which is urban commercial production services. So let me expand it and see. So if I deselect, it disappears. But if I select it, information comes. So now, what is under that is only one, urban commercial and production services. Now that is like a project on a department under FCCA. Okay, so now that's the one we have chosen. Now, I always first people reading this. Please note that only the sector sub-programs that are selected as climate change responsive and not sure will be considered in the next step. But now here, we need to expand this. So this is our department or project. Okay, so they are asking, the objective is to further promote urban commercial farming in Kampala. They are asking you, is this climate change responsive or not? Well, I'm not sure. When you read the objective, is it climate change responsive? No. No. Oh, we are not sure. It's not. Not sure. Which one? Choose. What shall we put? That's my problem. What we are doing here, we are starting with the objective. And just now students, was this objective crafted with the lenses of climate change? No. So when you read it, you are able to know that this is climate smart or not. That's what we are doing. No, I told you that we start up coming down. Okay, so the question is this, we are on, this is our department. At this level, this 13 we have selected is either department or a what? Or a project. So when you read this name, to further promote urban commercial farming in Kampala. Is that climate change responsive? No. No. So we are sure it's not.
Well, that can be happen anywhere else. Everywhere.
You need to be climate change responsive, direct you actual, but at the time of populations.
Personally, I wouldn't wish to dismiss it.
So after they are many, we are going to select all of these. So we proceed. We on the first one, what's the decision?
Not sure. Not sure. Okay.
Not sure. Now the second project or department under what we selected is to promote and support sustainable market-oriented agriculture production, food security, and household incomes.
This is responsive.
It's responsive. Okay, so here we click responsive. Then we go to the last one. Remember, all of these depend upon what you selected. Okay? You would have a different interface if you selected NEMA or road fund. So we go to this other one, which will involve Kampala Capital City Authority. You all brothers know that this now has changed. You know how we're doing projects, the name has changed to something. So, but let's read it. The objective is to support enhancement of technical, human, and infrastructure capacity for efficient service delivery.
Right.
Is that climate change responsive?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
Because they are.
When we talk about the issue enhancement of technical. The proper use of technologies has a positive impact.
Is the use of knowledge on human infrastructure technology and what is that? Technical human, yes, knowledge and
Yes, look at the
skills.
wastage. So waste is managed in the Kampala. The dumping in the disposals in Lake Victoria and those surroundings. If you enhance technology there, it means that you intend towards promoting efficiency in the way you are handling the waste. Therefore, in the long term, you are going to mitigate on the externalities of random waste disposal. That's the only thing.
Okay, you have a point?
Yes.
Thank you. I just find let's see, there are two extremes. As if everyone intends to address climate change. That's kind of what I think. But this same technology can be used against the environment, or to accelerate the issue. So now take it as much for those we are looking for what is technology is geared towards.
But at the same time,
Yes.
okay.
What's this?
Yeah, I'm thinking that it is climate change responsive, reason being that if you support enhancement of technical, human and infrastructure, I have an idea that if your capacity is being used, it may, the content of what they are giving you, they have even the intervention of the prosperity issues. For example, if they are enhancing your capacity, interpret the prosperity issues so that as you enhance service delivery, also enhance the service delivery of the various prosperity issues where our climate change is. That's why I think it is the climate change responses.
So before I go to him, then him.
I,
You see, no, I'm saying before I come to you and not him. One is when we are doing this, that's the first thing we said. We let the people who understand that sector do it better. Okay? She's thinking right. But it's very possible that in the trainings that KCC is going to run a jury, there's no component of what? But perhaps that's what we are thinking. We are saying, this room may have what? But they may not have. You find that their trainings are very different. You don't even have any component on that. There will be training. There are people to enforce the people who are doing roadside training. And that's what they are doing. Shall we take that as kind of smart? So now, that's why they put an option of not sure. And you proceed to avoid making errors. Because you are going to grab the whole objective at that level as climate what? Responsive. And yet down there you are going to go up to activities that you are again further disaggregate. So in such a scenario, the best thing is just say I am not sure.
but the fluid is right, it can't be enhanced without taking care of such cross-cutting.
That is an assumption, yes. Then it is not enhanced. That is an assumption.
Otherwise, the one enhanced.
Let's flash it, if possible, let's flash it.
I want to see things that I think statements. For example, if you are talking about the recruitment, if you are recruiting, for example, for management of brand, and everybody would know that that is climate change. you are including improving technology skills and everything for the management of project for the government. That would be directly climate change. But if you don't mention something that qualifies this climate change, then we are likely to end up living as poor forever.
Lastly,
Okay, maybe I've changed my thinking, but previously, I was reasoning it like this, that you on someone's knowledge, then skills and infrastructure, then you are enhancing this adaptive capacity. But I was asking myself, after putting,
if I suppose adaptive capacity to what?
yes, in relation to climate change, for example, climate change.
Non the adaptive capacity we are referring to is in relation to
Change.
For example, this training we are having, someone will tag it as climate responsive. Because we are here to talk about issues of what? But imagine it was a training in either agronomy or any other thing. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. Okay?
But who puts there is the objectives? After put the vote and the program, who puts there is objective? Is it not who is starting or they are just there?
Okay. These ones are in the system. They are in the system. For example, if we have the local governments, you are going to see your departments as they appear under the local department, under the local governments coming. So they just populate the tool with the information. So here we chose KCCA, and we chose one what? One let me say bigger program, which would be at the level. Okay. Now that one has its information already. There are no projects under it, and there are no departments under it. Just like the local government, there are no departments. If it were a local government, typically instead of this, you'll be seeing maybe production, you'll be seeing commercial services, you'll be seeing, and still under them, if there are projects that are allocated to you under that financial year, they will still pop up. So that information is fed in by finance. They told you this tagging, it means to what? Finance. So they have the information. So all the information that is here is not fed in by error. It is information that is existing in the budgeting what? System.
I just wanted to raise up an issue. We shouldn't limit our thinking when it comes to climate change. For example, if government supplies gas containers, free gas containers, it is addressing climate change. Yes, I'm telling you this with a lot of confidence. That's really does. It is addressing climate change. The other day, there was a program in Mubende. Then it was about supplying gas containers, adaptation to such clean technologies. Then someone came and said, gas and so the people ended up refusing to take these subsidized gas containers. It was on the radio station. So I was tempted to call in the mayor, and we went to the radio. I told him then, way back in 1993, I was working in South Africa, who were using gas. And there isn't a lot of statistical data to the effect that when you use gas, there is a high possibility that your house could get burnt down. In other words, when we are looking at some of these issues, some of them are so latent that you can easily see. Like you say, tree planting, water building embankments. But then there are those that are indirect, but in a way contributing directly to reverse the status quo. This is what
I am happy you are all getting it the better way. One primary objective of tagging is to get how much allocation is given to climate action. Now, this retooling, first of all, the internet retooling project run as not in the different thing. Different from what you're talking about. Retooling projects are basically structure of your what? Of your agency or the whole government. Something to do with the administrative blocks, a few things of maybe buying chairs and what furniture for the review. Now, you really do not do that because of climate change. Okay, but it's possible that another component, if it were possible, that you have, as shall say, distribution of gas cylinders. So now, at that level of that activity, you will target as climate adaptation or what? Mitigation. But where we make a mistake is tagging it here broadly, all of it entirely as climate responsive. Get the point? That means the whole objective, whatever it has below it is what? Climate responsive, which is not the case. So that's what we are mitigating. And it's what we want to take care of. That let's not, if we shall get what she's saying, you will get it down there as you proceed with the tool. Okay? So for now, what qualifies, let it qualify. What doesn't qualify, what you are not sure, leave it that and proceed. We shall get up to activities, actions down there as we go on. Actually, there are outputs for each of these. Now, at output level, because I told you the NDP3 was configured up to output level. You don't have coding for actions. You have coding up to outputs. So even here, the smallest thing we have here is what? Is an output. So all those, because each of these are still bigger projects, all departments, down there are going to get their respective outputs. For each of them, that should again be required to target whether they are by what? So, understood? Yes. So there, what should I put here? Pardon? Not sure. So save and next. So now, save and next. Where are we? No. I've skipped something.
Step 3.
Okay, step 3. We expand. Remember, we had video there. Eh? So now I have to click the plus. Now it is telling me output, market access for urban agriculture. The question is it an adaptation or mitigation? As you think, market access for agriculture. Why? At that level, you don't have not sure. At that level, it is either adaptation, mitigation, or none of them. There's no not sure there. If we have made that ends up eating us up. Is tagging budgets ambiguously, making us look like we are very good at climate action. It is not the case. Practically. So we are here. Choose So when you read this output, is it an adaptation, mitigation, or not climate related? You are given an answer. That's it. We are targeting. When I do market access for urban agriculture, why?
Scoping.
Scoping. How is urban agriculture done? If you have calculated in English, that can be smart or not. Anyway, most aspects of urban farming integrate climate smart actions because you are optimally, first of all, you have limited land and you want to maximize the benefits. So most of them are for adaptation. And these markets you are promoting, you are supporting, it is coping up, which is something to be under resilience, as you were saying. So I will tag it as adapt. The good thing is it even has agriculture, but it's not for any urban markets. You get the point here. It is explicit market access for urban agriculture, but not market access for urban produce. Urban produce could be beyond agriculture. Now, this is where you have to have the knowledge of the national climate change policy. So they are asking, amongst these, where does it fall? Is it under agriculture and livestock, biodiversity and ecosystem, climate change management, climate information, cross-cutting, disaster risk management, energy, fisheries and aquaculture, forestry, health, human settlement, institutional arrangements, mobilization of finance resources, tourism, transport, water, wetlands? Where? Number one. Then we also have the strategy of the national climate change policy. Which strategy would it be? So the strategies are here. The first one is promote and encourage highly adaptive crop varieties and cultivars in drought-prone, flood-prone, and rain-fed crop farm systems. Is that what we are doing? Proceed. The second one, promote and encourage highly adaptive and productive livestock breeds. The third one, promote and encourage conservation agriculture and ecologically compatible cropping systems to increase resilience to the impacts of climate change. It's possible. But let's read all of them and see. Because the purpose is the third one. The other one, promote sustainable management of rangelands and pastures through integrated rangeland management to avoid land degradation and deforestation. This one is promote irrigated agriculture by encouraging irrigation systems that use water sustainably. Then the second last is support community-based adaptation strategies through stretched extension services and improved systems for conveying timely climate information to rural populations to enhance the resilience of agricultural systems to the impacts of climate change. This one, then develop innovative insurance schemes. No. And then lastly is promote and encourage agricultural diversification and improve post-harvest handling, storage, and value addition in order to mitigate rising climate-related losses and to improve food security and household incomes. Number 3.
That's
So-
last one, it's on the last thing.
We are now deciding between 3 and this one. I can read 3 again.
Yeah, it's not.
3, promote and encourage conservation agriculture and ecologically compatible cropping systems to increase resilience to impacts of climate change.
Yeah.
Pardon? Are the markets under conservation agriculture? It is clear. Promote and encourage conservation agriculture and ecologically compatible cropping systems. First of all, urban agriculture is beyond crops.
Yes.
Actually, most of it is what is the animals. So we go with this one, the last one. So the pass of reading, that's the patience we need. So we have finished that level. Remember, we only had, I don't know how many outputs are under all of these. You are not taking less time because this project we chose, all department had one output. But you have to work on all of them. So I'm going to expand NADS also. It also has one output. So it's the same output, by the way. It's the same output, everything stands. Why did we choose here? Agriculture and livestock. Why did we choose here? The last one. Proceed to this one. This one hasn't given us too much learning because it's the same thing. It's the same thing, but that was our choice. So at that level, I have finished step 3. Save and next. I'm frustrated. So remember always to expand, because if you separate it, you don't have done something. But let's read, as they have said. In this step, you report on the appropriations for the climate change relevant outputs. It is advised to have the budget document for the selected fiscal year. If the budget appropriation is unavailable, you may use the provided budget data for this exercise. You may download there. Okay? You can download, but we shall assume certain things. The appropriations are of 2 types. 1, recurrent appropriations, and 2, development appropriations. The recurrent appropriations are subdivided into wage and non-wage appropriations, while the development appropriations are subdivided into government of Uganda and development partners or donor support and appropriations in aid. For some votes, the appropriation in the aid component is not mentioned. Now, before we finish, they are telling us we have a recurrent and development component. So the recurrent component has wage and non-wage. That means you must be able to give us how much wage and non-wage is that output taking. That's the first thing. The wage and the non-wage are going to give you the what? The recurrent. After that, you come to development, which is going to be divided into 3. It has DOE funding, it has development partner funding, and appropriation in what? So those are 3 things. Those are the things we're expecting moving down to what we are doing. Okay? Then we proceed. I have to create a plus for each of them. So now they're asking you, what is the source of data for the monetary appropriation entered? So what do they tell us here? That you're either using budget data or you're using what they are giving you here for what? Okay, they have to choose. So I will assume you are going to use, this is that way. If you have your PFP, you will choose that. If you are using the internal budget document, use that, okay? If you are using CCB data, let me click here and see what internet. You see, it has got an Excel sheet, which is what we are going to, where should I say it? When you facility underground roads. Save. And then we are going to open it. If we don't know, but if we knew, I want to show you that this simple, let me first keep it from here. So the planners do these things very well. I am only showing you this to appreciate, but we are not going to use it. So what did you select? We picked. So you can see that we picked KCCA. This thing is this. Okay. So we picked where did we pick? Environment where KCCA. After it's not even here. So you see we can't use this. You can't use this, but we shall assume it. So you see it has the vote. This is one vote. There are many votes here. After it is here. Kampala Capacity. Did we choose Kampala Capacity Authority? That's what we picked. Okay. So which sub program did we go for? That's very one. Department output your urban what? Road rehabilitation. I can't even see it here. But the monies are there. The wage, the non-wage, if external finance are put in here, that's what it will look like, and that's the information we will pick to continue here. So now let's assume we are using CCBT data. Okay? The data used for the monetary application, final or preliminary. Let's say preliminary. There's a difference, by the way, between final and preliminary at the end of the printout. When we choose preliminary, the printout down there, when we are printing, will be in what? In a yellow color. When we pick final, it will be in a green color, showing you the person was sure whatever they were doing. Let's first choose final and see. So now we start allocating. Note that this money we are allocating, this is configured in 1,000 Uganda shillings. So if, for example, here is 300,000 for wage, I am going to put 300. That means 300 what? 1,000. Okay. So if we have 200 for non-wage, I'll write 200 what? 1,000. Now remember, this one now captures the what? The recurrent. Now we go to the development, which has GIGO, external financing, and development. So I am assuming here you have 45 million. So I write 45 and 3 zeros. The others, as you see down here, you've seen this. Now this is the thing I told you. It is green because we have final. But if you choose preliminary, the color changes to what? To red. Okay. So final and external financing. Let's assume you are getting 78 million shillings from external what? Financing under that activity. 78. Is it 7? No, another 0. 78 million. And if we have an application in aid. So already there we are having the total climate budget. This is 123.5 what? Million. For that what? Output. We have to expand all this. So we expand. Give me figures. we are putting arbitrary figures for purposes of the training. And then then external financing, if we have nothing, then assume we have appropriation in date, which is that. So also for this, you see every time you feed in, it gives you a figure. Okay? Then we proceed with the other last one. We choose an action here. We never chose this. CCP data, then this one is the to be file also. And then we come and do the same. Final. So the weight component will be this time 100 million. 100 million. Then the non-wage can be half of that, 50 million. The POU funding can be 56. And then next under financing, and then save and next. So we're on step 4. Now step 5 is review. What are they telling us? Excellent work in getting this far. Kindly review and confirm the summary information from steps 1 to 4. Should you want to alter any information, please click on the edit button. So we come to program information. We chose integrated transport infrastructure and services. Okay. Now these things don't rhyme because we chose something arbitrarily. I would not expect integrated transport infrastructure to have those things of urban agriculture. Okay. So don't expect to find this. Then sub-program, we are not sure. The vote we chose what? Kampala Capital City Authority. Now, if that is correct, we leave it. We shall click on edit and see. So we come to step 2. We started the program, Urban Commercial and Production Services. The project names are here. There are 3 of them. And the objective, one was to further promote urban commercial farming in Kampala. And we are not sure who is climate change responsive or not. The second one was to promote and support sustainable and market-oriented agricultural production, food security, and household income. Now we are sure that was climate responsive. To support enhancement of technical human. Okay, imagine here we are not sure. I mean, it was climate. I'm just imagining it. So you edit. Okay. So where are we editing? Let me see. So we are editing, and we come back. Where was it? Where down there? No, this one. So imagine it's not supposed to be that. Save and next. Okay. So the rest we have filled. We have filled until we go back there. So now we go back. Now this we have edited has changed to. Imagine it was wrongly put. So then, even this, the national climate change policy, climate action, we've listed because there are 3 because they have 3 outputs and they are the same. Mitigation outputs, not climate change related, they are not there for mitigation. Then we come to climate change appropriation. So we see our output. This alignment to the national climate change policy and the strategy. So everything is here. And you see the budget is in 1,000 Ugandan shillings. So for each output, we have given how much resource is there for what? For climate. Remember, this may not be the total amount allocated for that but we've selected what is relevant to climate responsiveness. So after that, we go to our next. And it can show you the graphs, okay? That from what we've done, now this is CCBT summary report, and you read, they are telling us CCBT enables the government of Uganda to identify, classify, and track climate change responsive appropriations in its national budget. This summary note provides an overview of budget appropriations on climate change for the vote, that is Kampala Capital City Authority, financial 25-26. And then it gives you. Therefore, this report is based on climate change budget tagging undertaken in steps 1 to 4. All the appropriations were national budget framework paper. See the summary, all this has come from what you have put. A table of the targeted climate change appropriations are available to download here. Okay, let me see, I can download them and I show you how they are going to look like. So the table is here. Okay, so they are showing you the sub-program, the project name, the project objective, climate change responsiveness. All of these you have done. Adaptive, you see there is nothing under mitigation, but there are outputs under adaptation, okay, which is a summary. Now we come to the monies, breaking it down by output. So you see how for each output, we have how much wage and non-wage. So with this, we are able to also follow up our financing of climate. How much is going to wage? How much is going to non-wage? In other words, how much is recurrent? At the moment, most of it has been under the current budget. But then also, you are able to monitor and see how much is DOE funding and how much is external funding. So this is the summary table. Okay, if you want, they are showing you options. Download the report in PDF. Let me download and I see what comes. It will come somewhere. Okay, so that is downloading. We shall get there. The thing is even frozen. It was on my computer. So let's see. I found the tool. Okay. Technical error. Okay, so we are here. We were here. So now we have all this. And go to next. We are here showing you a summary that 100% of our resources are for adaptation and nothing for mitigation. Okay, this is the purpose overall. It can even give you percentages. Total climate change budget in UDX is that. Climate change budget adaptation is 100%. Climate change mitigation budget is 0%. Are you seeing? So this is the overall intent of doing the exercise, to be able to come to these summaries at the end. So let's read. They are telling you figure 1 shows the climate change budget, including appropriations for outputs that are classified as adaptation the most and mitigation the most. The climate change adaptation budget is the total appropriations for outputs that support the national climate change policy and action priorities, which include actions to counter or address climate risks. The climate change mitigation budget is the total appropriation for outputs that support mitigation. Then climate change equation is up with Ghana's national climate change policy. So we are seeing that most of it was under agriculture and livestock. Now, these things I'm put here to bore you. Remember, they told us all of this has to be done in line with our national priorities. So also someone implementing the national climate change policy priorities would like to see under all those divisions that we had. Remember, we had agriculture and livestock, we had also crop and what. We also want to know how much of that resource, I mean, which of these is more funded? Is it agriculture and livestock? Is it renewable energy? Is it something of the sort? So that's why this is now customized to our what? National priorities. So this is why all this is important. Besides just getting the budget to adaptation mitigation, but those strategic areas, as you saw we are selecting, are important going forward. So even the climate change department is able to give statistics of our commitments to climate action in the country by those other subdivisions. So if every local government did this, then you can amalgamate at what? At national level, and you are able to follow through. That's why you see all these things are divided this way, to customize what we are doing to our what? Context. So this is figure 2, climate change by appropriation by any national climate change strategies. So here you can see where we are. Appropriation. This is policy plans and governance, nothing. Research and development, nothing. Knowledge and capacity building, nothing. Action delivery is where most of the money was put, meaning the money was put to action. So all of these thematic areas, remember when we said before, in our step 1, before actually we have this to the tool itself, there is where we talked about analytical tools. You must have an analytical framework for climate change before you even start entering data. Now, this one is showing you that the architects of this, they have already a defined analytical framework that they are going to use because of the information that has been fed in. So you see how it comes out properly and clearly, given the analytical themes that the people had at the back of their mind. This is what we said. What is your analytical framework for any cost-cutting issue you have in the local government? It does not stop only at how much money has been given to that particular cost-cutting issue, but you have several other analytical parameters that you're looking for beyond what? Beyond this. So you can see all this is meant to stimulate our thinking in that line. Then last, as we conclude, this shows you properly that figure 2 provides an overview of the possible allocation by the type of climate change strategies. The NCCP strategies can be classified as, those are the ones which you are seeing there. But you saw that most of it was in what? Action delivered. Now we come to the last section. Figure 3, climate change budget appropriation by the type of appropriation. That is wage, non-wage, DOE, external finance, development, appropriation aid. So yeah, it is clear that the biggest percentage was going to the wage, which will be not ID, okay? And small, non-wage, but let's have something, some good commitment from DOE, okay? Development. And you see that here, the total of this and that would be better than this and that. That would mean you are having more appropriation towards development what? Development initiatives, which what any person would want, any sensible donor. Rather than more money going to wage and what? And non-wage. So all of these are the analytical tools, all the analytical framework that you can generate from what we have been doing. Any question? What we are going to do, we are going to get a volunteer who is going to use another MDA. Within 10 minutes will be done. And you tag as other colleagues are contributing until we reach this step of the summary what? So we are going to get a volunteer within 10 minutes to do this once again. But you've seen the analysis and how everything comes out. So, the volunteer, you can choose another sector. 10 minutes will be done. Leave the financial year, but come and change this. The volunteer. What should be a plan? The Lord's doing this work. But also technical people can do it. This is they said. So I extended. So the screen looking good back.
Morning, colleagues.
Let's say the swim, so take it. Then you switch here. So let me duplicate you, this is discussion. Let me. See, so that's okay. Yeah. Start by changing a vote.
Thank you. We are checking the votes. Which one do you propose we take? Let's just take my if. Then after my if, we need to change the NDP program to agro-industrialization. Was my if with like only deals with agro-industrialization. The sub-program, we have institutional coordination and others. I don't think we repeat what is there, or we go for others, but the other time we used others, let's pick what is there. Then we go next. When we go next, we now here have to check which ones are climate smart responsive, either by climate change, mitigation, or adaptation.
So the trick here is the more, okay, as a planner, you select all it. But now here, you select all means more work. You're going to fill all of them. So just choose a directorate you are interested in. Mine is very directorate. It has fisheries, it has crop, it has livestock to us. So just choose one directorate of your choice and go with that. For time management.
Which one do you propose? Animal resource. Animal resource.
So deselect everything and leave on the animal resource. Just deselect.
So here the director to check what is there. The department's objective is directed to animal resource. The objective is to coordinate technical guidance or formulation, review of implementation of policies, registration standards, plans, and strategies in the area of animal production, animal health, veterinary regulation, and inspections. Inspection and enforcement. So here we don't know whether this objective is climate smart, responsive, or it's not. Which one we take? Take not sure. Then the next one is is livestock health, support animal disease and vector control for improved food security and household income. Which one do we take? What's your still?
Someone had something. And someone said you can be responsible.
That's considered.
We are looking at animal disease, vector control. For improving food security. Because by science, you know, some vectors, some diseases are prevalent. In given climate, in given weather condition. But the mind here is there, it's already taken care of. But you are a technician there, you know when it is raining, we are going to combat this disease or this vector, what so it's already in play.
Now, one thing that this tells you is you need to with the understanding corruption mitigation. Whenever doing this, you have to consult the technical people. They will guide you because you may end up taking something wrong. He's right, yes. Usually, most of animal diseases are exacerbated by what? Climate change. Yeah? And climate activities take any action directed towards disease control for livestock as an adaptation what? Measures. So there would be right to say that that one is climate what? Change responsive. But good enough for you, you are on the what? You say, I'm not sure. You see, not sure and not climate change responsive are two different things. You rather be not sure, but that can fall under responsive.
So we can take responsive, climate smart. Not sure.
No, that's responsive. Yeah.
Then the next one is to support vector control for improved food security and household income.
But then, the one support animal disease and vector control. If the officers now encouraging management of disease and vectors using the pesticides,
Vaccination.
yes, I'm just seeing the inorganic material, the inorganic pesticides that are harmful to the environment.
First of all,
That is the environment.
this is livestock. So livestock they mostly use what? This medicine against the ticks, the acaricides. Vaccination itself is also climate smart. Climate smart what? Intervention. So it covers to be climate smart. Now for the acaricides are different from the way what you spray on the crops does. For the acaricide, most of it stays on the animal. But for the crop, most of it drains and goes to the what? To the water sources. So in the livestock language, most of those, if you're doing vaccination, if you're doing disease control and what, you're taken as climate smart. You're taken as climate smart. But if you are doing anything on disease control, it's climate smart. They minimally use pests in livestock. Those ones most apply to the crop and maybe they are very few.
Even with the drugs, there you see an option of preventive and curative, where you vaccinate against a disease that has not come. Then you can cure it, what has come. So when you are preventing, you say you are mitigating. And then when you are curing, you are injecting drugs to cure a disease, you can say you are adapting.
Okay, assume you are not doing it. Good, what should be good, and we go.
Then the next department is the Northern Uganda Farmers Livelihood Improvement Project. And the objective is to establish an an effective market-oriented agriculture production approach to improve farmer livelihood in northern Uganda. I'm not sure.
You read, to improve farmers' livelihood in northern Uganda. So in Uganda, where are they? You have to look at extreme hotness. Why is more prevalent? Because it's not covered, but they are specific. Northern what? Northern Uganda. Yeah. So most of those actions there are related towards resilience, not adaptation. And horizontal. Okay, this project was in Karamoja region. It was not built to war. If it was built to war, it would not be under Ministry of Agriculture, it would be under Ministry of Security. These were what? There are some of the sort.
Then the next one, develop guidelines for use in the conservation of bees at district level. Impact skills and knowledge to stakeholders in the management of bee reserves and build capacity for district local government staff. That one, I think it is responsive. The next one is to control livestock disease such as FMD, those ones, Newcastle, so it could also be the prevalence disease.
Continue.
The next one is meat export support services, and the objective is to establish and maintain compliance with national veterinary meat export support services.
That's all. If it's wrong, if it has to be compliant and for export purposes, it must take care of.
That would only be if you are taking the European Union alone. Because that's where their EUDR is applicable to livestock, to beef, to coffee, cocoa, but it's a broader export market, which may not matter so much. So
There are those people to mind. There are those who don't mind who take up.
yes, for example, most of our agriculture exports go to where? They go to Kenya and DR Congo. Do they mind? Kenya only comes into Congo, but they have a bumper harvest.
But the year is a bit smart.
About climate, when have we ever stopped our exports due to climate-related non-compliance?
They give
That climate,
That's not climate. You still remember even about milk? Milk and sanitation. What kind of climate? That's climate. This is your president.
that what?
That's climate.
But was it due to climate reasons, many reasons? That's what we're interrogating.
Okay, let's put, not sure. We accommodate.
Enhance livelihood, resilience and agro pastoral communities cross border route on area. And the last one is to contribute to a competitive, profitable, and job intensive, gender responsive, and environmental sustainable. That's one. Antoine, you go.
So you are saying that these objectives are quite different. Why I'm letting you do this again is for you to understand the diversity, because if you're not exposed to diversity, you make mistakes. You see the debates we are having, someone reads and says, but that one, other one is the electricity is okay. That's that one, I think I'm not sure. That's the exposure you should have so that we do the things rightly. So let's hope there are a few things here. If there are many, because you have to expand each of them. But you cannot like each of them and see. You can do what?
This one, the one with Bill Bay.
Continue. It has many. It's okay, I will do one and see if the two will agree.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, we're going to go to this there. Just the outputs.
So policy law, guidelines, plans and strategies, that was the output. Could this be adoption most?
Why? I'm not refusing your answer. I'm not asking why I said that adaptation was. So now there, it requires you to have the, that's why we say
There is a
you have the reference documents. Okay, so the question is, which policy did they propose? Now, in the other sheet, you will have a fraction level and be able to look through the what? The policies and qualify, which will be very contrary. But if it's a policy listed tomorrow or maybe responsible APRA and agriculture and what some could be what? Adaptation. After what? Verify it. Don't start before you adapt. So I'm assuming you verify it. But that's what I'm telling you, that you should take this after understanding. Continue.
Then the category.
Where would you like to be? You are the team. We are doing this together. Not just facilitating.
And the strategy.
It's already there for you. Huh?
Vector disease control.
Why? Now, whether before or after the adaptation, or livestock disease management, whether you are done it before or after, it is all adaptation. Yes. Now, and now we have this discussions. The mitigation in climate change is different from the mitigation, which is an English word. Yes. When I say I am doing this for my child to mitigate this, that's not the direction where we are transferring it to what?
climate.
To climate. We define the mitigation as any intervention that protects carbon sinks, okay, sequesters carbon, or reduces the release of greenhouse gas emissions. If that's what you are doing, it is, but not the English meaning of mitigation, that because I am treating before the disease occurs, then I'm mitigating. You are mitigating the disease, but not climate what? But all of that is climate adaptation, not the mitigation of English. Proceed.
We are here. Good thing they said you need to do this one. Now it's stricter. You need to look at the entomologist who will give you the best categories and the I think we have to take one. Agriculture and livestock.
Let's read it. But you have respect.
I don't respect, but I see by the eyes. It's the first one is promote and encourage highly adaptive and productive crop varieties. I think we are not appropriate to entomology. So we shall look for something that
We can read it from there.
I'm not seeing anything in relation with data collection.
Number three.
I will read this one. Number 3. Oh, 16. This one is
So remember what will happen.
Yes, number 3.
If you skip this option, there is an analytical variable you are missing. As you saw, the report was coming out. Some variable will be missing, and I doubt the tool will proceed. Let's continue and see. There are things you verify later. But there is something now that's the understanding. Where can you place this?
3.
Number 2,
Number 3.
promote and encourage highly adaptive livestock production, adaptive and productive livestock breeds.
Number 3.
But is this on breeding? Because this was an entomology, I remember. It was an entomology. Yeah, they mostly deal with the sese, flies and the ticks. And bees, yes, and bees. So are those livestock breeds? So what is better? Here we say promote and encourage conservation agriculture and ecological compatibility cropping systems. No, but there is an and. Promote and encourage conservation agriculture and ecologically compatible cropping systems. So there is an and. Proceed. Go take the action.
Next one is promotion of priority animal
Products and productivity.
That's it, the translation. That's it. Still of agriculture, livestock.
Okay. Number 2, no, 3. 3. Okay. So don't go to any, just say save and save. Then the next. Okay, you're there. Okay, fine. You say only what you've done is what has come. So let's just finish that. Now give money. First of all, there's this first section. Okay, it could be. Yeah, that one is okay also. Or you can have, you are sure you are getting from a paper. So now they are just allocate resources arbitrarily and proceed.
Policy dissemination.
Just finish, that's okay. We only editing. Next. So you can see. This is now the summary. We are under industrialization, institutional coordination. We are on the vote Minister of Agriculture, and the climate change budget is 12 million. The graph here shows you how much portion is to adaptation and mitigation. So there you have most of it to adaptation. Move down, the same thing, 100% adaptation. And now here the national commitments, we are under adaptation, agriculture and livestock, and the institutional arrangement and the legal framework is taking that amount of money. You come here, last time we had only something on action delivery, but now you can see that something has been allocated on to what? Policy, plans, and governance. All this will give us the analysis later. We continue, we have the weight, More is EOU funding, external financing. This is a little bit balanced. Proceed down. Just leave that. Okay, we download that sheet. I hope it doesn't lose it next time. Let it come. Okay, so colleagues, thank you very much. Unless you have a question. We are done with our demonstration. If potential the question. Is here.
I want to extend our sincere appreciation for the training you've given us. And I think, to me, I see, I've taken a step within this kind of budget planning. However, I'm worried about this implementation.
The download is there. It's finally
Our plans, how to use it. But from the start, you already told us that local governments were not yet included in the system. So you could give us a light on when we shall be on it, so that we plan accordingly. Otherwise, if it delays, by the time you bring it on board, bring us on board, we shall have forgotten. And we shall again call you to come and do a refresher training. That's it.
Thank you. Want to appreciate the presentation and as elaborate and really insightful. However, as you highlighted that the technologies are challenging, and like we have seen by ourselves, and the fact that this is an activity that is going to be done usually by the planners, may not have that orientation of climate change and the technologies involved. I am not worried about it. What I suggesting that if the planners could have more of these regular sessions, not only them, even some of us to guide us on some of these actions and where they actually fall. Because you can hear is that you will find on one action that falls either in education or not sure, would be halfway undecided. So I think that is an area of the emphasis. Otherwise, you have this representation of the budgets are playing responsible when they actually want. I think.
Yes, mine is that this workshop has been organized by an NGO, and this is actually crafted by LPA, Nations of Government. Supposing they had not organized this, where would we have actually this? And maybe other local governments that have not attended, where will they know of such? And yet it is important.
My brother, NGOs come in to feel what we call the make up. They don't have it on their own. They supplement the effort from government. So don't point the finger at government. He may misunderstand you.
Yeah, might have been
How will they benefit from setting up this?
Oh, that's great. I would think that our starting point, we who are here as local government, is to sit and come up with a synthesis report about what we have gone through. then share it with our colleagues, share it with the council, for example. These are the people who determine our levels of funding, our budgets. Let's persuade them, let's add them to make them see that these are very, very important issues which shouldn't be swept on the sidelines. Now we have to justify why they are very important, given what we have shared. We all know and we can see what we are going through as a country. Last Friday, Rakai, parts of Rakai district flooded. It rained very, very heavily. So many gardens were wasted. Classrooms, the roofs were blown off. So many homesteads, So this is something that we must be handling and give due attention before the worst becomes to the worst. So let's start off on this small, reasonably, we are fewer, but I know the intentions are big and they are very noble at that. The intentions are very big, much as we are fewer in numbers, but we can take it up all together. But we are also keeping our fingers crossed that Madam Emily and team get more resources, access to more resources, so that again, they bring our colleagues on the table, then they share with them what we have shared together. And if it doesn't hurt anyone, also we should also get a soft copy of what we have covered in the past 1.5 days. It's very important that we share with those who have had the opportunity to come. I'm sure I may have time that way. Yes.
Thank you, my colleague, for the presentation. What was asking myself is about this topic is actually more elaborative, but I don't know how best do you think this system can be integrated in our system we use for planning and building, that's PPS. Because under PPS we find some causes about mitigation and adaptation, but they don't go into that detail. How can this now to be incorporated into PPS to accommodate all this this information?
So I also think it's low. What plans that the authority we have in cascade this service or this training?
Okay, thank you very much for being attentive. So one is about implementation. And she talked about she's worried that even local governments are not here. Listen. I will leave her to explain to you why, for your, since you also have in government. The integration of climate change into NDPP started 2 years before the NDPP. But yeah, started 2 years before the NDPP. But even getting these carvings came after 2 years of NDP TV implementation. So what time was that? 4 years. Okay. And this came at a time when we are making NDP, people had first of all became a little bit not confused, but they made a decision. When you are doing the plan, someone over here is going to come and tell you the plan has to be gender responsive and has their own guideline. Someone doing climate change will come and tell you the plan has to be climate what? Responsive. They have another guideline. Disaster risk will come and tell you the plan has to be disaster, mitigate disaster and go after it. Also has their own guideline. Gender-based violence and child rights, all those cutting issues. So, at first, when during the NDP period, that's why the cross-cutting issues were first put on the ballot. And people synthesize it and they ask themselves, but which are the major cross-cutting issues which we first give attention to? Not saying that the rest are not important, but what can we first incorporate? That's why you saw in the planning documents, the budget circular, you saw about 4 of them. There was climate change, meaning the people are appreciated, so something of the poor are disabled, so something of HIV, and then something on what? But the list I showed you had about those starting issues. So when you are starting NDP3, there was that confusion, and people let you take a decision, and they were right, because you rather remain on the side of deciding very fast, you rather remain on the side of what? Ocean. So the point I'm trying to bring is that it took this itself, we have persuaded the DC for the past, I think, around 8 years. But when Abuja started, they are making their guidelines in NDP4. It doesn't mean that we are not persuading them to include climate change as a guideline, screening as a guideline, as a requirement for projects. It's a long time ago, but when have we achieved it? In what? So sometimes government processes are gradual, not because people are too slow. Sometimes it is managing the expectation to avoid. So imagine that time we had checklists for everything put into the plan, then how, and but the planners have always been complaining. But at this was cutting issues. The other one comes and tells you, if you have done this, are you car away? This one comes and tells you to do this. Even us as the planning authority thinking of a comprehensive tool, it has happened already even after NDP4. Because we released the plan, but now we are now having a checklist we are going to make for all those cutting issues to be integrated. What does that tell you? That one, there is an increasing awareness, or there is an increasing buy-in of cross-cutting issues into planning. That's the first step that we are all appreciating. You've seen it in the budget circulars, you've seen it in the development committee guidelines. You've seen all of that. That means planning and finance are understanding that there is what? There is need for action. So, when these were being developed, at first where NDP3 was anchored in programs. So we had programs. Districts, local governments were under, most of them under the Student Development What program, whose architect is also not yet by district. If you have to see, if you have to go into the PR for local governments, I mean for regional, the architect, the architect is not yet by what? By districts. So it was easier to start with what is known, what we have, and what is easier. And actually, I am from central government. Most of these donors prefer the approach of training of trainees. Let someone be taught, all trained, and then later they do what? They cascade there. So it is easier to start with central level training of trainees, and then you cascade down to the local governments. So that's why the starting point was there. What you've been seeing, that you have ministries, Ministry of Agriculture, it was central level. Okay. Colleagues from CCD were participating in this, as you have seen in the images. So that was the training, and this was being led by, supported by the World Bank. So this tool was not worked by National Planning Authority. It was worked by the World Bank. And after the most custodians of the tool, who give permissions are two, Ministry of Finance and the Climate Change Department, the Ministry of Water and Environment. Because this is an offline tool. The online tool has user rights. You log in with credentials which have to be given to you. So that it explains the process. Now, going forward is that I told you 2 weeks ago, we were tagging, I'm answering 2 questions in one. 2 weeks ago, we were tagging the programs for NDP, for NDP4. Tagging meant we went into the exercise of putting, whether it's for mitigation or adaptation. That's a simpler version, what he's talking about. That now, there is going to be another simpler system in the PDS, having climate actions, marked either as mitigation or adaptation. Your role is just to pick that action and put it in your budget. It already has the other code for that this is what? Mitigation or adaptation. So some of these exercises may no longer be valid going forward, because we want to start the PIAPs, which we've started with. There are already actions that have been selected that this action is for mitigation, this action is for adaptation at that level, such that it is the target going forward. Now that system is what is going to be superimposed into the TPS. Such that later for you it becomes easier. Because to be by program, you have permissions to look into any program actions as a planner. You are not going to listen to the local government what? A local program. No. You have you can look at programs. Now that's what we are going to do going forward. We make this a little bit simpler. Although this was the first thinking when this was being developed. But as the technology comes on board, things keep on changing. However, the level of analysis has to remain. Because now in the PPS, you may not have these other levels that you've seen. It is too much. The other levels you've seen, national climate change policy and what. So there, you might pick the action, but now that other level would be your role as someone who is who has the specialty to understand what is in the national climate change policy, what strategies are there. So there are other 2 questions in one. The D is about cascading. She answered it very well, that if even in some of the resources you need, you already see they aren't enough there. So you know how government works. When you stretch yourself into something, you must be giving it up somewhere. During the break, I was just saying to the colleague that I was telling him how I feel sorry for the teachers, because at the moment, the quality of government, even if you want or not, is what? Elections. Can we stop elections and pass attention to teachers? Do you think that is possible?
It cannot.
So it is like our students. And even PDM money, there was no new money allocated to PDM. It was repurposing. For you who are in districts and you had any program for distribution, it was frozen. And that money was brought to PDM. UCDS suffered the same. It had money for sibling distribution, it was frozen. MAI the same. Wow. So where there was money for distribution of inputs, NAS, frozen, transferred to what? PDM. So that's how government works. You are doing this, but there are some other things that are frozen. So it's not meaning that we don't, the good thing is that we are lucky that there are a lot of this increasing development partner support in what? In climate what? Activities. And indeed, most of these are supported by what? Government partners. The good thing is that now government has put a framework. Before, even this framework was not there to benchmark the government. I know what you went through to the discussions to have this input. We're asking, why climate change? Why not disaster risk reduction? Why not? You see all those questions there. So that's how we are able to do that. So we are happy for Emily with this support. But already we have ongoing support for other European partners. 2 weeks from now, we have the same exercise in Soroti, but for around 6 districts. in Karamoja and such region, because that's where the donor is doing what? So that would be far. And the same will happen in Ruel, but still for some second what? Districts. Today it has happened with support from heaven. About a month ago, the climate finance suite was also doing the same to some districts under another given what? Donor. No, so what we do as government is that if we know that this is taking place, what we don't want is Mitoma or Bushen to receive this twice. When Nimbara has not received, or when Kasesa has not done what? Has not received. Even if you come and told us, no, for me, I want to share it, I know they have received. And you are saying, that's my area of operation. We shall tell you no. Look for another place near Busheni. So cumulatively, keep on ticking the box with development partner what? Support that this has been done in this number of what? Districts. The starting point is we have a framework. And in my presentation, when I was starting CCPT, the process, I showed you the power of the government what? Partners. I showed you the power, even in the districts. If you don't have rapport with some of the government partners who are supporting this, then the government money may be very what? Very limited. Okay? So I am answering so many questions that go. The session, regular session for planners, this is okay. Where resources are available. Now, if this is already in the PBS, then you don't need to, you reserve regular annual planning what? Sessions. That all this can be incorporated, so it will be an idea of what? Of integration. So in brief, government is not being negligent. No. It's being very supportive and very supportive towards climate what? Actions. And government partners don't come by chance. Now, if Emily was not aware that we are doing this climate change budget targeting, you think they would have something like this? No. But now, because they know that there's that ongoing initiative, they said, okay, let's bring on that. Let's bring on that and help support government achieve its what? Development agenda. I thank you very much. Others, I think we are for no team.
Thank you very much. Realize we still have one presentation page, and this is representative from the Ministry of Water and Environment, Climate Change Development. So allow him come and do this presentation in less than an hour and a week. Just one slide. That one.
Good afternoon, once again. Francis Ogan, as I think it's the thing. Here are some selected related indicators came up with. But we came up with a report to relevant for those governments. These are what we have identified And basically, I want us to go through it and see if indeed the relevant for local government. There are about 9. You can go through one by one. It won't take us a lot of time. These indicators, we shall look at the baseline as per 2021, 22. Then the data that you have the financial year 2024, 25. Then of course the target year of 2030. When you look at indicator number 1, I think let's work together here and see if it's really relevant. Because we just select the field, there are 9 of them. So when you look at indicator number 1, the number of people trained stroke awareness based on climate change. That's about 1 million people. Do you think that is relevant as an indicator?
It's relevant.
It's relevant.
Yes.
Yes. And this data we have is basically in-house data from CCD. We use as per the baseline in 2021-22. We had 0.65, that's about 650 million, 650,000 people trained and awareness raised. Then for the financial year, the status for the financial year 2024-25, we had 3.7 million people. But the target by 2030-31 is 11 million people. Yes. Then proportion of local governments with climate action plans. How many of you invited have action plans in place? We have we have not yet. Yes. So for as per the baseline, there was we recorded 0. Then the status for the financial year 2024-25, we have 0.04. But our target is 50. Local governments should have their action plans in place by 2030-31. So is that relevant? Relevant or very relevant? Then we look at the number of districts, the number of district climate health profiles developed. And then that's where I'm having a discussion with you. So you can support whether we can keep it here or not. So is it relevant here?
Because it goes hand in hand with the action plan.
So for the baseline, 2021-22, we have no estimate. Financial year 2024-25, then we have there, but our target is to have 30 by 2030-31. Then we go to the next one. When you look at proportion of population with access to social protection, you have anything to say about that?
What is social protection?
We're looking at positive action. It's not this. It's more stage. More livelihood, yes. Can we agree that's relevant and yes? Then the statistic you can see we have 5 this line level, then the status for financial year 2024, 25, 5.5. But our target by 2030, 31 is 30. The minutes. Now, I won't guide you because these are just estimates, just like. That is social care. Social of population access social proportion set percentage. So would it be implemented? Yeah, it's going to be in percentage. That's percentage. So do we agree that that's relevant? When we are looking at climate related indicators for local governments?
But you see,
Population.
there's one thing is bringing up. When you are making mistakes in these indicators, you see this one is better percentage. Not every proportion is a percentage. Because even 5 out of 10 is a proportion.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that this is someone may put that way and go to multiply by 100 and has this. So it is important for you to put these in brackets if you really meant a percentage when you are doing your indicators for clarity. Because we need to see that regularly.
So do we agree that's relevant for as an indicator? Can we use that as an indicator at local government level? When you look at the population,
With access to
social protection.
yeah, it is okay. It is okay.
It is okay. Then the next one, we look at now in these old cities with sustainable waste management facilities. Waste management.
Actually, that one is the unassessment area.
Assessment area.
I don't know why you are now giving out, why you are so interested. Being out. Yeah, yes.
Some councils.
Yes.
You call it urban. Yes.
That's general.
Yes.
But we find that relevant.
Very much.
Yeah. Then the next one we look at proportion of preserved areas, so parks in relation to total urban land areas.
So it's still a challenge, but we need it.
The challenge that
Yes, it's green belts.
Very but they are
okay. Okay, now based on advisory knowledge, we have about 3%. The state has not estimated even yes. Yes, we cannot actually get it as our time is
But that is an area which is neglected. It's not given priority. It's not given priority.
And the unit which is very wonderful.
I think that's more information you give there. Then next we have efficiency of solid waste collection. Do you find that relevant?
Oh yeah, efficiency of solid waste.
Solid waste management. But because for efficiencies, I need to manage because if you collect them, in terms of area which can be affected, you need to manage.
Yes. Why are you looking at only solid waste?
Only request. Of course, as the local government level, we have seen that is not a challenge. It's management, it's collection and management. When we are doing our training, at least we have found out that, that's why we came up with the baseline of 3.2%. Then, for the financial year, 24-25, there was no implement, but we have to target the 70% by 2025. So at least at most district local governments, that is a very big challenge. And that it needs a lot of funding. Some not even request for funding. Then number of households using rainwater systems. To be determined, yes, but do we find that relevant? Yes, to be educated. That is the previous. You don't have to that's already. You don't even have a good yes. Yes, you receive this. Okay, but is it relevant? What about public payment, finance, online? And that's what. So that's what facilitates all of this. Because it is also very relevant. Yeah. So for the baseline, if there was no estimate, then for the financial year, we have a figure of $3,079. Then our target for the financial year 2030-31 is $24,000. This is basic information, in-house information. We need those very much research. Now, you find that there are about 9 selected ones. Which other do you think will be added to this? Thank you, Facilitator. Depending on the areas, number of websites stored, number of areas stored. Area of number. Area.
Maybe something to do with energy.
Yeah.
You need to move away from 90% biomass.
So what solution can we come up with?
Number of households using green energy.
And it's so
using the green energy for heating.
Is it green that I don't know about it's okay.
For heating.
So heating.
Using green energy. The uses are very. Is there. Running machinery is there.
Then anything else I can add to this? This is just work in progress. And I think you could share this. And actually, you can also have something like this about this. You can also help us.
Actually, this can
when it comes to your local government. Yes, your local government. As the department, you come to look for information. Instead of, doing research aspiration and all that, just come and you have something. This could help us.
I think it is going to help us when we are doing the final GPT or also the way to the indicators. And if you are to observe clearly, you see one feeds the other, facilitates the other, one indicator facilitates another.
Anything else you can add to this? Restore for us. Yes. Yeah. For this, that's the problem. Yes, I think, with those brief. Information share. That is all I have for this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So now, when we check on our program, we are supposed to identify actions and indicators for each district. So I'm advising that we group ourselves and just submit these actions for our respective districts. So we group ourselves into four and then come up with these three actions and indicators to report on. The ones that we find feasible and possible for our local government.
Why don't we now
We brainstorm. Yes, we do. But by consensus, members are saying we brainstorm. Maybe this would by itself or general.
rather than presenting us the idea
Someone can record there for us and so we just put to change release like that.
As we were discussing, we saw that they operate.
So you can never pass you have with the market or if you can even use your it as a marker then we use. So that means we are going to select each district. We can start with them. We can start with the plan. You can come and then over.
sources not
Let's start with
we are contributing the national source.
yes.
We are contributing.
Okay, let me do it. For change, let us identify over each one raises the under or if it's from so put it so what instead of so you will write for us. Let us now start with the Osheni. We identify actions and indicators. We seek to identify actions and then indicators. So we start with the action and then the indicator. Christine, maybe you were already for us this. So that we don't spend a lot of time. What you exactly mean here? You explain to us and then we get it right and then we don't settle.
Yeah, it is not different from what you explained. We just want to get the actions from the respective district and also the indicator. So when you highlight that, when you highlight an action that you're doing at the district, let us know which indicator can be tracked. Who is reporting at the district level. That your district is actually responding or addressing issues of that's okay. So it helps to ease reporting. The other actions we're doing and the indicators that you use.
I think now it is key.
Can we put in wherever?
Yes. I'm looking for this. Yeah, it's a balala
One. Bring back.
So the first indicator, first action.
Yes, action then if second form is the indicator.
Maybe you can open another.
River protection. That is the action.
Yes.
And we are talking about, we are talking about,
We cannot read it.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
It's already okay.
Hectares.
Yes, that is the size of the riverbank protected. Yes.
That is the first action and the first the first
Wetland restoration.
wetland restoration. And if an action cuts across, then don't even need to mention.
Give a number of so three. Three is the public awareness raising.
Awareness what? Climate change, I think.
Yeah, right.
Awareness, yes. Data, you are getting number of people.
Number of people.
Okay, let's firstly put it as that. When we are looking at creating awareness, purposefully, we targeting training, or we can even look at other channels like radio programs and all that. And today it says price at a very cheaper cost.
Yes, yes.
When you've already qualified and said training, there is a difference between the training and the other. The training brings in another focus of so we need to qualify those things.
Yeah, what you were saying is right, and actually an action can have more than one indicator, and we can have number of people exercise it.
Instead of training, put the word exercise instead of training.
Yeah, strokes.
When it comes to
Strokes. Yes, stroke is okay.
As you are proceeding, there's a difference between an action and an intervention.
Yeah.
Once you've written this side are interventions, because the action is the last mile of whatever you're doing. For example, if I'm doing riverbank protection, that's an intervention.
True.
I can protect it by planting trees along it. But there are other means, there are other ways of doing it still. And are they there?
They are there.
Now, to me now, these ones become like the interventions but not actions. Because an action is the last mile.
The doing of it.
Exactly, the doing of it. The last thing you are doing.
The planting of trees.
Just one intervention, yeah, so
Exactly. So for me, I'm seeing like what you are calling actions at this level are interventions. But you will choose what is applicable to your district with the means that you have.
Yes.
Misalignment is what is leading us to saying maybe what area shall we put here? So if the good thing is that some of them are applicable. Like here, most of the things you will do, that area will apply for the first part. But for this one, I agree with the hub. You have more indicators to put because your aim is awareness. You raise awareness by intervening people. That is you first raise awareness to your own people. So you can train your own people, but then you can also go and do the public awareness work. On the radio shows and what something of the sort. Yeah. Which one of those are indicators you can use?
Yeah. Actually, it's like the first intervention, you have the whole 9-stage process of restoring the program.
Therefore, would be ambiguous. You put all the 9 there. But you put in that one, as a technical person, you know those are the
Yeah, you will qualify. So let us continue.
But the other one is we are attempting to introduce fruit tree planting, especially the nut fruit. for food security.
Planting of fruit trees.
Yeah.
Planting of fruit trees. So we target number of fruit trees over size.
Number.
Number of fruit trees.
I wanted to understand from like a guidance from my colleague from SBA. The question is now, how do you intend to protect this bank? That is an activity. As like you were saying, this is something now new to us. Can we break it down? How do you intend to protect? That is the actually issue. Break it down for us and say, maybe I intended to do this.
Yes, that is the discussion that
You have to go through.
yeah.
One of them is identify the area which is the encroached or the area which is the degraded. That is an action, identifying it and marking it. Yes. The second one is to identify the people who are encroaching. You know, all those are things that you can't put them the same place. The third one is to bring the notice. You conduct meetings, now community meetings, with those who are encroaching and with those who are not encroaching, so that you show them how the river bank is for everybody, so that you can get support from the other people who are not encroaching. Those are now meetings. Then after the meetings, now you write warnings to them for them to leave the river bank. Now the other one will be in the writing, you give them a time frame for them to get prepared and get out. Then the other one is to come back and monitor, see whether those who have moved out and those who are still there. Now the next is to involve NEMA for enforcement for those who have not yet.
I wanted to comment on 15 Why are we? Why you want to recruit trees?
Yes, that is according to Barada. When you come to the easy, that's not it. So for Barada, for them, you are right, but that's what we are applying.
We are supporting
Yes,
I'm saying it's applied to
yeah,
because there are trees which are not even recommended for planting, for example, eucalyptus.
yes.
Which consume a lot of water.
So, yes, you are right. The question was be if we profile and put it in Bara, will you be able to do it so that we include this point?
Which one?
Because this is what Bara intends to do. So and is adding that we add other trees not necessarily.
Other climate change.
These trees are for community. So something entices them to plant them and manage them has.
So what if we add other trees?
For example, you know, it's a very good climate change tree, but how many people can accept to plant them on their land? But if you bring that food, they are looking at the food, but also the money from it. So that is the reason.
Now, I have this proposal. As earlier on said, because we are going for like a discussion, we shall not end. Let's go to districts. Because now we can see how time we are wasting on Mbarara and which is specifically for Mbarara. Why don't we split in 2 districts so that we deliberate, we come out with our issues and then we present, other than now discussing a district that shall not be able to implement what their proposals. Because I would imagine from now, we shall take more than 2 hours
to complete the five now districts. I am proposing.
That is the proposal that is put to us. If you think about it as the fiscal is also submitting.
Mbagala is our own eyes and ears. What is good for Mbagala is also good for Mitombo. I'm holding the floor and I'm begging for protection.
Yes, yes, yeah, protected.
Each one objective, as I said, shouldn't be a standalone. You are very aware about the nutritional levels in this one area. And I'm saddened to report that despite the abundance of food, we have the highest rates of strategic growth countrywide, which is why we should advocate more for the planting of fruit trees. That one has long-term implications. Because here we are presiding over staffs who were stunted. They didn't eat food, you give instruction, this, they don't listen, you give another. So let's promote that. And we cut our process. I was merely curious.
Thank you. So for Malala, since he has put out, we have closed it for Malala. Let's look, we go to say, or you want to be number 3. Yes. For
Thank you, Chair. I was not able. If you had gone, I would have been at grass.
We already done.
Well, is that?
That is almost the same.
It cannot be the same.
Yeah.
Depending on the terrain of the district, they can never be just.
We are yes,
We are presenting there, and we even the something. But when you go to each district, you shall not finish.
So, I think let's agree like this, now that we have said something like this, let's continue. But what Malala has mentioned, if it applies to Chino Mitoma, let's not mention it again. We just bring something new and we copy this, we paste it into our districts, and then we add whatever has not been mentioned by these other districts. So let's go to which one will release, who to release. Release, I think for wetland conservation it applies.
Yes.
And also for you have let's show us. Restoration of degraded electrowatts, then we put size of electrowatts restored as an indicator. So of degraded electrowatts, you know they have those crater, so many craterlets. And the indicator would be the size of the crater, the electrowatts stored. Then you add. Okay, you put number of craters. Then add new things. You then now CFO you bring in your other trees. Which other new action would you intend to do that has not been mentioned by Malala?
Can we talk about what I say in Malala?
No.
Check there. They have. Mention the whole tour.
And
for the reason they have, I think.
Yes, for
another point for other.
You had a point, you bring it up. It was what? It was what?
Conservation.
Granting of what? Granting of trees.
Then you can look for the.
Land or our of land started with the area of land planted with trees. We are just being climate friendly. We put another district as they are thinking.
Yes.
Yes. Leave some space for them. Let's go to let's go to training. If you remember any point to release, we shall just put it there or any other district. Put to shame. What should we? The wetland also applies,
And apply, then forest.
therefore it also applies. Maybe we target the waste management,
Exactly, waste management.
even the rule. Okay, on the general waste management. What would be the indicator?
Waste management. We now need to.
Number of towns and villages.
Waste management, we are now looking at indicator, waste management, how can.
The number of households with dustbin, something of number of households over collecting.
Number of centers created for waste management.
Yes.
Number of areas. Waste management. Waste management facilities.
Yes.
How do you set it, number of centers created for waste management?
400 waste management.
Yes, waste management handling centers.
I was just have something to do with the forestation and what.
Reforestation. Have you deforested?
That's what it is, forestation and reforestation.
Yeah, we have a copy the other from manifested on training one. We are just adding. We acknowledge that the other also applying. Forestation and reforestation. Yes. Yeah, it is there. We are acknowledging. They have mentioned it in Malala. So we are pasting it.
They will just
Instead of mentioning, we are saying also apply. Go to another district to Solo. Solo and Solo. You got to pick Solo.
Yeah, I'm sure. So the other thing that number of soil and water conservation.
So what is the action? What's the action?
It's control.
Sorry.
SLM, sustainable land management practices. And then we are saying number of
That's it.
practices. We are looking at number of soil and water conservation.
Yes. Number
Number,
is
number of soil and water conservation,
technologies.
water and soil conservation technologies implemented. Then we are looking at the number of land installation plans. Number of land installation plans. And yeah, because then you have the number of agroecological demos established. Agroecological demos.
Sit down.
Yeah, then when you go to wetland,
Yeah.
Maybe for us to be like what we have to do with the area, then you can take the area of wetland, and we are going to have a number of management. Area demarcated, area of wetland demarcated, and the number of wetland management. Number of wetland management.
It's another under management plans.
Then when it comes to afforestation and
we have already got it.
That one is okay if you are not.
National event. If you have a national event, to provide. Yeah, I especially at that.
Number of community national events established. If you want to establish that, you want to. You address the chair. You address the chair because we are going to waste a lot of time.
And then you have national community.
Let's go.
Under efficient technology. Well, we have number of.
Efficient technologies, you are addressing which issue?
Energy. Well, so then we promote our trade on solar, we think that.
You put number of efficient over energy saving technologies.
Yes. Clean energy technology.
Number of clean energy technologies.
Number of communities, households supported clean energy technology.
Number of, you provide the upper one.
And institutions supported with clean energy technology.
You are done. Let's go to Informa. Let's go to Informa. For wetlands, that applies.
Public education and awareness. Public education and awareness.
Public
Education and awareness.
What are you budgeting?
Number of children. Number of children.
Number of people.
Then they will do radio programs, number of.
That's the whole thing. Let's go to Tom. In Goma, we have wetlands, conservation, river banks, we have police state. We are acknowledging, except the soil. Who are announced in the Goma, but these other ones. So we as above. As above, we have any other units we can't mention, but as above, except the other soil. Okay, Amon, you can put if you have any. You say as above. The other indicators in so members, for this session, I think we are left with the next steps and employer, but we need to have the way forward. The way forward. Next steps one of the group. Some of the things that as we are discussing that one is that soft copies of these presentations, the materials here taken as should be shared to our email accounts that we have provided. including also the climate change living through, and also this having. Then NPA and in partnership with the development partners other local governments and other institutions on board to plan what we have done. Then since this report by each district to be compiled and presented to those relevant organs of council for funding this cause. Other members of each other what we are discussing other that I may not have captured. Also, CCI committees.
Interpret the indicators in the district development plans. The other option is for the districts to incorporate the indicators.
Yes.
District development.
You are not capturing this.
It is a way forward.
We can capture it.
We have agreed that the respective districts to come up with a report highlighting issues from this meeting that we will present to the council to interest them in planning and budgeting for climate actions. Then also the respective district planners and technical people to integrate climate change indicators and actions in the district development plan form. Copies of the presentations. Of course, those will be shared. The meeting.
So we talked of the profile of the calculations for the district. But you think this is an avenue or it is too big for you? Yes, it's an avenue. Yeah, we can start on the side that you know that when I will be easy, these are the major. And remember, it's not just after identity, just identify that hash identity and what no. Data needs as we guided in the presentation. It will be good that you are the pioneers of having that in your district. These are good internet way.
So for the climate change, profiling by districts.
Unless if we left out the use that anybody wants to add.
Also talking about continuous engagement.
Yes.
NPA.
NPA partnership. NPA partnership with other government partners and other agencies on board.
With others, stakeholders.
Yes. Huh?
We are requesting that if possible, APA will share some of available guidelines, guide our planning budget.
Yeah, man.
When we are in our budget conference, and be was
if during the consultation budget meetings, if NPA could come aboard and also communicate on the kind of change salary that the districts, all the districts will come to take it up. And it is integrated in their budgets.
that is in the PCC already.
So members, we are coming to the end. There is a workshop. And if you have any addition, then you can always contact the report. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for the attention. We have our executives in the house, and as per the program, we're supposed to have official closure of this workshop. So at this juncture, I've been invited that I invite the car to the DC, give closing remarks. Thereafter, we shall be from Cambridge to
But the recording will be going to be.
Thank you very much, moderator.
Yes. Officials from the Ministry of Water and Environment, our colleague from NPA, colleagues from the districts, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the 2 days that you have been here. I'm grateful that I'm here to make some closing remarks. As we were concluding towards the way forward and the presentation, capturing issues from each district, there I got, oh, this is very wonderful. I would say out of the very many in the region, you can only see only 4 districts are here. That's not by accident. And when one of you are like now, the NPA, you need to get his contacts quickly, you get to him, and he guides. You need not to get to the circulars and the budget conference. This is our own now. I thank NPA and the partners that really chose the 4. And you remember you people when we were here some time back, over this, the same. Even in this house, this 4, yes, you can count yourself to be one of the privileged to be part of this. And I thank you here, I thank the Ministry of Water, I thank our partners, and I thank you colleagues for having had your time to be here for the 2 days. I have noted that we need to profile the cross-cutting issues as we do our budgets. This is now you planners and the Natural Resources Department. For us, we shall be there in the end and we make sure things are done.
taken to council. We also need to integrate. Also, we have been mentioning this. Climate change, but we seem not to be very serious about this. Now that given this opportunity, let's be part of this initiative and really integrate the climate change issues into our district's plans and budgets. So that when these people come during their monitoring, they look at what we are doing and sincerely do appreciate. I thank everybody, you know, has not been easy for all of us to be here for 2 days, particularly some of us who may be very, very busy, but having given this attention to this meeting, this workshop, it is wonderful. We need to clap for ourselves for having been here. Our partner now, we need to thank you. Small as we are inside, but we really thank you. You here for us, and we don't take it for granted. Even next time, those who will be around, please make sure you come and we attend and we get in these other things of ours. I will sincerely thank you and we wish you just mercies as you go back, but don't forget to implement, put in place what we learned from here. Because when we do this, we will have saved the nation, we will have saved our districts, and we will done good for the future generation. I thank you. I take the honor and opportunity to officially close this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carl. Acknowledging the support by Emily. Emily is environmental management. It is Emily who is the facility.